Hey, Rad World, let's talk about the new Tomb Raider movie. Tomb Raider stars Alicia, Vikander, Walton, Goggins, and is directed by Roar Uthog. He is a Norwegian director. It is about Lara Croft, this time trying to find out what happened to her father. He's been missing for 7 years. She's trying to figure out what happened to him. She stumbles across some clues that might lead to where he disappeared, and goes on this adventure to find out more information on her father. This is more of a adaptation, I would say, of the 2013 reboot video game, which I absolutely love. The reboot franchise of Tomb Raider. I liked the Tomb Raider games back in the 90s, but the reboot games are taken far more seriously. They give the character of Lara Croft a lot more to do as far as story is concerned. They really built up her as more of a real person and not just kind of like a superhero idol. So I've appreciated the new video games for that aspect, and I appreciate this movie for doing the exact same thing. There are a lot of visual references from the video game that are translated directly to screen absolutely perfectly. Some of the action sequences that take place in that game take place in this movie, and they're done really, really well. So if you're a fan of the video game, I think you're going to be a fan of this movie. I think that as far as video game adaptations go, this is definitely one of the more faithful ones. I think it does a really good job at just creating excitement, just action, reaction, constant things are happening that force her character to do this or move a certain way or go in this certain direction, and then immediately followed by another action that will cause her to do something again. So it's just action, reaction, almost from the beginning to the end. There is a moment in the middle where the movie does come to like a screeching halt that's filled with exposition, and then immediately just hits the fan again directly after that, and it's just action, reaction all the way up to the end. I would say this movie is the epitome of summer action blockbuster. I think that it is a fun movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously. There are a lot of ridiculous things that happen that characters would not walk away from, but at its heart, it's an action movie based on Tomb Raider, which Tomb Raider, the ones with Angelina Jolie never took themselves very seriously. This one definitely takes itself more seriously than those films, but in a way that still allows itself to have some fun with it and not take itself too seriously. But everything that she does in the film makes sense for the most part, as far as like how she acquires her weapons and her skills and all those things. I like the story that they've set up. I think that Alicia Vikander does an excellent job here as Lara Croft. She is really perfect in the sense of the reboot franchise of the video games. I don't think that she is fits into that stereotype of what Tomb Raider may have been known for in the 90s, but as far as this reboot franchise, I think that she plays that character very strongly, and I think that when she's fighting people, I think that I buy into it. I believe that she can take on these people who are quite a lot bigger than what she is, and I buy into her skills as this adventurer and as this puzzle solver and as this just strong fighter. I really enjoyed the movie, but I do have issues with it. It is not a perfect movie by any means. I mean, as I said before, this is an action summer blockbuster. It is very much kind of a shut your brain off kind of action movie, but it's enjoyable, but it has pacing issues. There's a moment in the film that just comes to a screeching halt that really just, with the momentum that this movie kind of builds the entire time, really just brought it down a notch for me. And then some of the acting from some of the supporting actors is little lackluster. It's not the greatest, but totally fine. Walton Goggins, awesome villain in this movie. I thought he did a great job. I mean, he's always kind of plays like really great villains. So adding the caliber of actors of Alicia Vikander, Walton Goggins in this film definitely elevates it to a level that is a standout as far as the video game films have been in the past. So I really enjoyed the movie. I think it's definitely worth watching, especially if you're a fan of the video game series. If you're not a fan of the video game series, I'm curious to your take on it. I'm curious to whether or not you enjoyed the film as much as I did. But being a fan of the new reboot game franchise, I think this movie does an excellent job at bringing that to life on the big screen, because those games are very much just action blockbusters in themselves. So I think that it translated really well. There are some story elements that are a little far-fetched, but every Tomb Raider game and movie has story elements that are far-fetched, so that doesn't really bring it down much for me. As I said, my biggest issue I think is just pacing, a couple of editing moments. There's some scenes that I feel like don't really work so great back to back, and maybe could have added a scene in between the two, or just kind of maybe swapped a couple of scenes. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this review up right there. Tomb Raider gets a 7 out of 10. I thought this movie was really enjoyable. As I said, it's an action summer blockbuster film. You know, it is very much just a kind of a shut your brain off movie. It's not the greatest movie ever made, but it is definitely a step in the right direction as far as video game adaptations are concerned. I think that if you're a fan of the video game franchise, you're gonna really like this movie, especially that reboot franchise, especially, you know, the one from 2013. If you're into that video game specifically, you're gonna really like this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. If you've seen Black Panther 5 or 6 times in theaters, go check out Tomb Raider this weekend. It's a really good time. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more episodes just like this one, and we'll see you guys next time right here on Rad Entertainment.